In the headlines, 24-hour curfew relaxed in Plateau State as GOC meets with warring parties. 4 policemen feared killed by bandits in Zamfara State. Diphtheria outbreak kills 30 children, 42 hospitalized in Yobe. And on the foreign scene, 6 people missing after building collapse in Guinea. Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We start in the Plateau as Governor Caleb Mutfwang of Plateau State has relaxed the 24-hour curfew imposed on Mangu local government area of the state. The movement is now restricted between 7 p.m. and 6 a.m. A statement signed by the Director of Press and Public Affairs to the Governor, Gyang Bear, says the decision to relax the curfew was reached after a review of the security situation in the area by the State Security Council to allow students writing the National Examination Council and Junior Secondary School examination complete their exercise. In the meantime, the Commander Operation Safe Haven and General Officer Commanding Division 3 of the Nigerian Army, Major General Abdusalam Abubakar, on Monday held an emergency meeting with all stakeholders from Mangu local government area of the state. The GOC called for the meeting to broker peace between Fulani and Magavul communities following the incessant attacks and killings in various communities in the state. The commander gave both sides the privilege to voice out their grievances to find out what led to the attacks and subsequent reprisals in the communities over the past 3 months. General Abubakar urged both parties to embrace peace for development to thrive in Mangu local government area. He also pleaded with both sides to sheathe their swords. Now, our correspondent Adu Musa from Plateau State has more details.
Meanwhile, the commander of Operation Safe Haven, Major General Abdusalami Abubakar, has held an emergency meeting with all stakeholders from Mangu local government area, where the Magavul community, Fulani communities, traditional rulers and religious leaders were all present. The commander told the gathering that the meeting was purposely held in order to understand one another, in order to embrace peace among them, in order to also ensure that peace is restored within Mangu general area. During the meeting, the commander also asked all parties, particularly the warring parties, to voice out their grievances so as to find the lasting solution to the problem, which during the presentation by the warring parties, all of them now voice out their grievances and hope that the security agencies will do the needful to ensure peace within Mangu general area. The commander, however, also promised to extend this particular or this kind of peace meeting to the remote areas, particularly areas that were affected by the crisis, which he feels that it is when this meeting are extended to these areas that people will be able to sensitize on the need to live with one another.
And in Zamfara State, armed bandits on Monday killed 4 police officers serving under Bungudu local government area of the state. The policemen were on a routine patrol along Bungudu-Gusau Road when the armed bandits ambushed them and opened fire. The spokesperson for the Zamfara State Police Command, ASP Yazid Abubakar, confirmed the latest attack. A resident of Bungudu town, Ibrahim Bungudu, also confirmed that 4 police officers were killed during the attack. The resident says the bandits also shot 1 person at Tagero village under the Furfuri district of Bungudu local government area. He says the bandits attacked the policemen around midnight, killing 4 of them manning a checkpoint. Still talking security, the Niger State Governor Muhammad Umar Bago has launched Operation Flush as a first step towards addressing security challenges bedeviling the state. The governor also donated 20 operational vehicles to security operatives to help curb crimes in Minna, the state capital and its environs. Launching the operation at the Government House in Minna, Governor Bago expressed concern over the security challenges faced in the state capital, saying that the vehicles would facilitate adequate patrol of the city. The governor encouraged the Commissioner of Police in the state to ensure that security operatives make proper use of the vehicles. Governor Bago also announced a war against sale of illicit drugs, warning that any building found housing drug dealers would be confiscated and demolished. The governor says out of the 20 vehicles, the police would take ownership of 12. The State Security Service and Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps would be given 2 each, while vigilante groups of the Nigeria National Drug Law and the Nigeria National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, as well as hunter groups and anti-drug committees will receive 1 each.
The branding of the car is Operation Flush. It is intended to flush all hoodlums and criminal elements within the metropolis and also in the state. And again, we have realized that a lot of drug trafficking and drug-related issues are happening in Minna. We have given them a marching order. First, anybody that is found selling drugs, his building should be confiscated and brought down. We are going to give zero tolerance to drugs. And therefore, anybody that is warehousing drug dealers or cartel in his own premises is at his own risk.
We appreciate and we salute the governor of Niger State for the provision of these 20 operational vehicles, 12 for the police and the other ones for other security agencies. And in our own part now, we have gotten something and we are going to showcase our activities, our actions. So Nigeria should be expecting total commitment to flushing out of these criminal elements in the metropolis.
On behalf of Niger State government, we want to commission these vehicles for your operations. This is your choice of operation in Minna metropolis. These vehicles must be used within what we call Minna, from Paiko until you get to beach.
In other news, President Bola Tinubu has asked the Nigerian Senate to confirm the appointment of the newly appointed service chiefs. The request is contained in a letter addressed to the Senate President Godswill Akpabio and read during Tuesday's plenary. President Tinubu says the confirmation request was in line with the act establishing the armed forces. He urged the Red Chamber to consider his request expeditiously. Akpabio, after reading the letter, referred the request to the Committee of the Whole in absence of a standing committee on the Nigerian Armed Forces. This means that the service chiefs will be screened on the floor of the Senate, not at committee level. Still staying with developments in the National Assembly, the Senate on Tuesday constituted selection committee for the composition of its 70 standing committees. Senate President Godswill Akpabio announced the selection committee during Tuesday's plenary. The panel is comprised of 2 presiding officers and all 8 principal officers. It will be chaired by the Senate President Godswill Akpabio, while his deputy Jibrin Barrow will also serve as deputy. Other members include Opeyemi Bamidele, the Majority Leader of the Senate, David Umahi, the Deputy Majority Leader of the Senate, Muhammad Ali Ndume, Senate Majority Whip, and Lola Ashiru, Deputy Majority Whip. Also included are Senator Simon Davu Makudon, Minority Leader, Olarere Oyewumi, Deputy Minority Leader, Darlington Nwokocha, Minority Whip, and Senator Rufai Hanga, who is the Deputy Minority Whip. Meanwhile, the Senate President also named the chairman and deputy chairman of some of these standing committees. Kebbi State government has given reason for the termination of the appointment of Special Advisor on Youth and Sports Development to the Governor, Babangida Sarki. Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Ahmed Idris, told Trust TV that the aide made a social media post that was capable of tarnishing the image of the state government.
The present administration under the able leadership of Dr. Nasiru Idris has made a passionate appeal to the people of Kebbi State that he need their support and cooperation toward achieving the objective. And he promised that is ready to pilot, to develop the state, and call on the people to pray for him to succeed. And he's also using this medium to call on the people who has an idea, focus, direction in bringing development to the state.
Now, a suspected diphtheria outbreak has killed at least 30 children, while 42 others are reportedly hospitalized in the isolation center of the specialist hospital in Potoskum local government area of Yobe State within a week. Tandari, Miso Road, Sabor, Sakarit Secretaria, Arikemi, Raminkasa, Boria, Igwanda and Texaco quarters are the most affected areas of the recent outbreak. A source at the isolation center of the specialist hospital in Potoskum reveals that they are faced with inadequate drugs to contain the situation. So far, about 46 cases have been admitted, with more than 5 casualties reported. You're watching Trust News Update. Still to come, we take a look at a recipe for managing convulsion in children. For details, join us after the break. Welcome back to the news update on Trust TV. Here's a quick recap of our top stories at this hour. 24-hour curfew relaxed in Plateau State as GOC meets warring parties. 4 policemen feared killed by bandits in Zamfara State. Now, 3 pupils of Sangaya School were burnt to death, while 8 others sustained various degrees of injuries as a result of an inferno that engulfed their thatched apartments. Following the tragic incident, the teacher of the school, Modibo Usman, made a clarion call of support for the Almajri's system of education to mitigate future reoccurrence. Salis Lawan has more.
The sad incident occurred around 11:45 Saturday night at Shagari, Sabompegi, Bole, Yoldepati ward of Yola South local government area. According to the chief teacher of the Sangaya school, one of the victims who was burnt to death by the fire, Ismail Mohammed, came to his touched apartment asking for matches to light their mosquito coil.
Mosquito coil kunni be nasidi nyanne mo bodum da wadi pewol ni.
I was about to sleep when I heard my neighbor shouting fire, fire, fire. Then all of us came out to put out the fire, not knowing the victims were still under the touched apartment. After the fire was extinguished, we started looking for them, but unfortunately, they were dead. Sangaya pupils who normally come from far in search of Islamic knowledge are usually crammed in touched houses that do not encourage any form of academic exercise.
Government is being consistent with its policies. Such tragedies will not be reoccurring. If you recall, during the administration of former President Goodluck Jonathan, he have inaugurated a project of Al-Majri education system through the Universal Basic Education Board or Commission, where the Al-Majri system is being integrated into our basic education system, and the government provides structures and all resources needed for the integration and upgrading of the Al-Majri system of education.
The three victims, Mustafa Ahmadu, Yusuf Abubakar, and Ismail Mohammed, who were killed in the incident, have since been buried according to Islamic injunctions, while those who sustained injuries are still receiving medical attention. Salis Lawan, Trust TV News, Yola.
Medical practitioners have identified major causes of convulsion among children and how it can be managed. Dr. Martins Mosheri and Dr. Ifeanyi Ajufor, who spoke with Trust TV in Asaba, Delta State, say convulsion in children can be caused by severe malaria, meningitis, effects from an injury in the brain, or among many other causes. Here's the report.
Response to either an external or internal problem. A child that is 3 years old that was playing and suddenly started convulsing could be as a result of so many factors. The first is we'll look at our environment and find out what could have been the cause of convulsion in a 3-year-old child. If we say malaria, yes, it's possible, because when the temperature of the body rises above some certain normal, the body tends to react, especially when the thermoregulatory system in the brain has been altered.
Convulsion is commoner in children because the causes are numerous, and there's one particularly that occurs in children, which we call febrile convulsion. You can see an adult or even a child above 6 years convulsing, it's not common. It's not common for a child above 6 years to have febrile convulsion. What is the commonest convulsion among children is febrile convulsion. You see them jerking. Most times it's generalized, tonic-clonic, or you can see it. And the cause, as the name suggests, febrile means the body is hot. As the body gets hot, it triggers firing, because just the brain firing, abnormal increased firing, discharge of the brain, sending signals to the muscles, so at the end of the day you see the muscles jerking.
In other news, the Nigeria Customs Service says the new Custom Excise Management Act of 2022, assented to by former President Muhammadu Buhari, will improve revenue generation, security, promote trade facilitation, prevent smuggling, and implement stiffer punishment for violators. Trust TV correspondent Chamung Dabeng reports.
According to the Acting Comptroller General of the Nigerian Customs Service, Bashir Adeni, the NCS has had a long-standing need to review the SEMA Act to fit the country's present-day needs, as well as deal with security and trade challenges the country faces today. The new SEMA Act is designed to introduce user-friendly technology which will boost revenue generation.
Between that time and now, 1958, a lot of things have changed, in the way we conduct our business. The dynamics, the volume of international trade has changed tremendously. Technology has come to revolutionize the way we do things, and the custom space is not exempted. So we need a stronger legislative framework. We need a framework that is more adaptable, that is more flexible, that allows us to infuse technological solutions, innovations into our operations.
Adeniyi, who spoke on Monday on the sidelines of a sensitization workshop, says that in order to deter criminal activities, the SEMA Act now provides stiffer punishments for violators.
We discovered that the previous legislation did not provide sanctions that are punitive enough for violations of customs laws. Some of the fines were ridiculous. What this law has brought are very, very heavy punitive sanctions that should deter people from committing those violations against the customs law.
While speaking on border security, the acting CG emphasized the need for effective collaboration with other stakeholders for optimum performance.
We are all going to be stakeholders involved in this business. It's not just going to be the work of customs alone. So this was why I said collaboration, very, very active collaboration with all those that are involved. So our farmers are going to be our stakeholders. We are going to rely a lot on intelligence that we get from them. We're going to work with them because we know that when we protect them, we are protecting the Nigerian economy.
The Nigerian Customs Service says it will continue to sensitize the public on the law surrounding the SEMA Act and emphasize the need for personal study and understanding. Chamun Dabeng, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now to developments on the international scene. 6 persons, including a child, are missing after the collapse of a 6-story building under construction in the suburbs of Guinea's capital, Conakry. The building was located in a quiet district of Matoto, just south of Conakry, between other residential and office buildings. An impressive security force of police and gendarmes was deployed at the scene, where civil protection workers and rescue workers were working to try to find any survivors under the rubble. The construction work was being carried out by Mark BTP, the company responsible for building social housing in the suburb of Conakry. Numerous construction and public work companies have been set up in Guinea in recent years by relatives of senior government officials. Every year, buildings under construction collapse in the city capital. The sector suffers in particular from a lack of supervision of work by services of the Ministry of Urban Planning and Housing, which is suspected of corruption by some site owners. And the president of Mauritania, Mohamed Ould Cheikh El Ghazouani, has called for the return of Mali to the G5 Sahel organization. Mali left the regional military alliance fighting jihadist groups in May last year, citing loss of autonomy and instrumentalization within the organization. The appeal took place in the Mauritanian capital at the opening of the 4th session of the General Assembly of the Sahel Alliance, a platform of 27 bilateral partners and donors set up to mobilize international aid for the development of the region. The military junta that has ruled Mali since 2020 has broken with France and its allies, turning to Russia for help. Mauritania, a vast, mostly desert country with a population of 4.5 million people, has not seen any attacks since 2011. Now, the Abia State government has confirmed former Arsenal striker Kanu Nwankwo as Enyimba of Aba's new chairman. Kanu replaces Felix Anyasi-Agu, who led the club for 24 years. Governor Alex Otti dissolved the Enyimba board led by Anyasi-Agu shortly after the Nigeria Premier League Football League Championship playoff, which the People's Elephant won to become the 2022-2023 league champions. Kanu Nwankwo, 46 years of age, is expected to lead Enyimba to succeed in both the CAF Champions League and the 2023-2024 seasons league and Federation Cup competitions, which his predecessor won on several occasions. As Enyimba chairman, the former national stars will work with his Ajax Amsterdam former teammate Finidi George, who is the club's coach. Both players were part of Louis van Gaal's team, which won the UEFA Champions League in 1995. All the very best to Papilo and his endeavors. Now, double champion, Olympic champion at the 800 meters, Caster Semenya, was discriminated against by rules forcing her to lower her testosterone levels in order to compete in the European Court of Human Rights. Now, the 32-year-old South African athlete was born with difference of sexual development known as DSD and is not allowed to compete in any track event without taking testosterone-reducing drugs. On Tuesday, the ECHR ruled in favor of Caster Semenya in a case involving testosterone level in female athletes. A three-time 800 meters world champion and 800 meters and 1,500 meters Commonwealth champion, Semenya has been in a long-running dispute with World Athletics since regulations requiring her to have her hormone treatment were introduced by the governing body in 2018. She has twice failed in legal battles to overturn the decision. The case at the ECHR was against the government of Switzerland for not protecting Semenya's rights and dates back to a Swiss Supreme Court ruling 3 years ago. Well, that's it. You're up to date with the latest news stories at this hour. Thank you most kindly for joining us. Feel free to follow us across our social media platforms for more content. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching.